What is up, everybody? This is Anthony with VR 365. What is going on? It is Monday. It's March 25th, and it is about 4:05 p.m. And there's actually a lot of stuff going on in the VR gaming world right now. Now, most of it is centered around PlayStation VR. Lots of big things announced today. We got some brand new PlayStation VR games. Some of the biggest PlayStation VR games out there. We've got a date for Blood and Truth. We've got dates for all kinds of PlayStation VR games that are very, very imminent. We've got a couple of big PSVR games that were just announced, obviously. And then we've got Palmer Luckey talking about the Rift S. And very interesting. I gotta say, man, my boy Palmer Luckey, he is just an interesting guy. I like his blog. I like a lot of the stuff that's going on over there on his blog. And it's very interesting because me and Palmer Luckey basically have the exact same IPD. And so I guess the Rift S isn't for me. You know, the Rift S isn't for me because I'm just like Palmer Luckey too. All right, well, anyway, guys, let's go ahead and get the show started. And we've got to start it off with the biggest news of the day. It certainly is the news of the day. And probably going to be maybe one of the 5 most wanted VR games, period, on any platform. And that is No Man's Sky. Let's check out this trailer. Looks pretty incredible. And yeah, so that is coming this summer. We don't know exactly when this summer. I'd have to assume like July, August, something like that. This is a PlayStation VR trailer for No Man's Sky, but apparently it's coming to the Vive. It's coming to the Oculus Rift. It's coming to Steam. It's going to be available for PC VR headsets as well. But will there be a delay? Will there be a delay period? That's the one I don't know, because you know what, guys? I've been at work and then I did my normal work shift and then I had to go get my car smogged. Then I get home and my kid starts crying about wanting something to eat and there's nothing in the fridge. So I had to go run and get him some food. So I'm not exactly sure if this game is going to arrive. Like, is it going to arrive on all 3 platforms on that very first day? Or does PlayStation VR have maybe a short little window of exclusivity? Maybe only a month? Maybe 45 days? I don't know, because it's a PlayStation VR trailer. But this is easily, like, this immediately is the #1 most wanted PlayStation VR game. Like, this takes the #1 spot. Previous to this is Blood and Truth. Now, a lot of people are still very excited for Blood and Truth, and we got a release date for Blood and Truth, and we got a new trailer for Blood and Truth. Well, why don't we just go ahead and check that out real quick? We'll check that out real quick, and then we can kind of discuss which one of these is the bigger. Oh, wait, maybe I don't have the Blood and Truth trailer. Let's see. Oh, no, I do. I do have the Blood and Truth trailer. Okay, so yeah, let's check out this Blood and Truth trailer, and then we can kind of debate between the two. No Man's Sky or Blood and Truth? Which one's the bigger game? And they're coming very close together.
Ryan Marks, SAS Nomad Squadron. You're facing multiple life sentences. Conspiracy, arson. More murders than we could even count. I just want to know what went down there.
My name is Ryan Marks. I'm a soldier. Now, don't get me wrong, I love my day job. But it's always nice to come home. Spend some time with the family. Mum!
Oh, for God's sake, what did I tell you?
See some culture.
Nice use of that Special Forces stealth there, mate.
Taking the sights.
Let's get inside and find out what he's hiding.
Catch up with some old friends.
Think of it as a merger. Apart from you. You can f off back to the army.
Is that it?
I think I broke a window.
Tony's been approaching some of our people.
What are we looking for then?
Clues, evidence, anything that tell us what Tony's up to. Got it.
We need to push back hard or we're finished.
Ryan, are you sure about this?
Get me underneath! Closer! Closer!
No!
Average weekend, really.
All right, so yeah, they've got a couple heavy hitters, and they're coming within a relatively close range of each other. You've got Blood and Truth coming on May 28th, and then we've got No Man's Sky coming sometime this summer. Probably, I would have to guess like July or August would be my guess. So, you know, there is a little bit of a window of time between these two games, but I think they both look pretty incredible. Now, they're very, very different games. The thing about Blood and Truth that some people might underestimate is if you've just never played London Heist on PlayStation VR Worlds. If you've never played that, you wouldn't understand why Blood and Truth could be so incredible. Because the thing about Blood and Truth, what it's trying to do is it's trying to put you in to a spy thriller movie, and it's basically trying to straight up put you in the movie, and it's trying to basically be an interactive movie. If you played London Heist and you played the few scenes of London Heist that did such a great job of that on PlayStation VR Worlds, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They basically put you into you feel like you're in an action movie, especially when you were in the car in London Heist. And I can imagine being in the car going under this plane, being in the car in the other part, and then just all the crazy spy antics. Some of these characters, you know, some of these character models, they're up close in your face in 3D. They're going to be talking to you. They're going to be looking at you. To this day, I mean, it's kind of crazy to me. I think of PlayStation VR Worlds, and you know that big muscle-bound guy that you would always see in the advertisements for PlayStation VR Worlds, and you're basically sitting on a chair, and he gets up in your face, and he's talking to you, and he's looking at you, and he's making eye contact with you. That doesn't happen very often in a lot of VR games, and it's been all these years, and I still don't see people do that very much. I don't know if it's just they're not AAA, they don't have the developers, they don't have the resources to try to make it so high-end like that. But some of you PC VR snobs that think PlayStation VR is kind of lame, you're going to be missing out, because the thing about it is PlayStation VR Worlds, London Heist in PlayStation VR Worlds was maybe the closest you could ever get to being in an action movie. Now, you might get that with Defector. You might get that with Defector on Oculus Rift, which kind of is similar to London Heist in certain ways. But Blood and Truth looks really good. This is coming on May 28th. We were wondering what the deal was with this game. We actually thought it was going to come out last year. Got delayed quite a bit, but it does look very good. It looks very involved, and we'll just have to see on May 28th when that hits. Let me go ahead and switch back over to the No Man's Ski. The No Man's Ski trailer, No Man's Sky, and talk about that for a minute. Now, the thing about No Man's Sky is, let me get my chat popped out over here in the right spot. Okay, so the thing about No Man's Sky, I never played the original No Man's Sky. I'm trying to remember, when did No Man's Sky come out? Was it very close to the arrival of like the HTC Vive and Oculus? Did it come out right at that same time? Because I skipped this game. And it's crazy that I completely skipped No Man's Sky, because every single podcast I was listening to, this is all they would talk about for like weeks and weeks and weeks, was No Man's Sky this, No Man's Sky that. And it was all negative mostly. It was all like, I wanted it to be good. There were a couple of people that were like really into it. Like, this game has been dragged through the mud. So many things have happened with this game over the years. But one of the things that everybody's wanted to have happen to it is to bring it into VR, because it almost seems like it's more tailor-made for VR, landing on some random planet, getting out and exploring a Martian landscape, going underwater, seeing strange creatures, beautiful colors. Like, this is kind of what dreams are made of, right? Of course, there's a lot of problems with this game. There's a lot of things that people complain about this game. Now, I know Gary's hyped. I don't think Gary's in chat. He's probably gone to bed by now. I know it's very late over there in the UK. But Gary's probably very hyped for this game, because I think he was actually a fan of No Man's Sky. I think he played it for a while, even though VR was like still around. Okay, No Man's Sky was August of... Yeah, see, dude, I was knee-deep in VR at that point. I wasn't tripping on nothing flat. I passed. I completely passed on No Man's Sky. But see, a lot of people were still very into flat games, and then they would play VR games, they'd play flat games, they'd play VR games. But once I got a dose of VR, I was gone, baby, and I was not going back to flat gaming. The only flat game I can even think of playing that I've played since I've really got hooked on VR was Horizon Zero Dawn on PlayStation 4. Horizon Zero Dawn with the redheaded girl. That game, I did play that game, and I played it very specifically because I had a 4K TV, and I want to see what a 4K video game looks like on a big giant screen, yada, yada, yada. But anyway, No Man's Sky, yeah. Phil Yarn says, I wonder if it's coming to PC. Yeah, it is. It's coming to PC. It's coming to Vive. It's coming to Rift. Basically, it's coming to PC VR. It's coming to PlayStation VR. The only question is, will there be a delay? I have to assume that the game is going to be on PlayStation VR on day one for sure. This will be the first platform for sure. I don't know if Vive and Rift players will be able to buy this game in their respective stores the same day, or will there be like a 30-day delay, a 45-day delay, or something like that. But I haven't even read the story. I've just seen the title headline that this game is coming and that there's a trailer for it. Watch the trailer. Looks very good. So Paradise Decay says, on the No Man's Sky blog, link further up chat, Steam and PSVR launching same time. Okay, so no delay whatsoever. Sony gets the nice advertisement, though. The Sony headset is in there and all of that. But yeah, so that, yeah, and it's completely free. That's the crazy thing about this. I did read that this is completely free. So basically, if you have a PlayStation VR, guys, here's what you do. You go buy a used copy of No Man's Sky. Just go ahead and grab it. Go grab one off eBay or whatever. They got to be dirt cheap by now. Most people have probably given up on the game. You buy a used copy, and if you have a Vive or a Rift or whatever, you can start looking at I don't know what the price is on like Steam. I got to get my Webby browser set up, because you know what? All my pages have not been refreshed. So let's go ahead and do that. Wow, there's a lot of more news that's going on. Breaking news, folks. I'll get into some other stories here in just a second. What I'm doing is I'm refreshing all of my little browsers here so we can have up-to-date information. But yeah, I want to look up No Man's Sky real quick on Steam, because I have no idea how much the game is selling for. Okay, so it's $29.99. Okay, let's bounce over here to the web browser. No Man's Sky, mostly positive. This is on recent reviews. Oh, wait, chat. My chat doesn't seem to be coming in over there, so hold on one second. Let's see if we can get chat. Don't seem to have chat copied in here. Okay, that should work. Okay, we'll have it in a sec there. Okay, so No Man's Sky, when we look at recent reviews, mostly positive, 351 mostly positive recent reviews. You look at all reviews, it's mixed, and 100,000 reviews. We've never seen that with a VR game. Like, we never see anything like this. Like, if we see something that has 1,000 reviews, we're like, wow, that game has 1,000 reviews. This one has 100,000 reviews. So you know what? Hello Games, say what you will about them as a developer, about them promising the sun, the moon, and the stars, and not really delivering it for many, many years, but plugging away continuously on this game. They've sold enough copies. They are doing pretty well. These guys are doing pretty well for themselves. I didn't know they had Star Wars in No Man's Sky. What's Star Wars doing in there? I didn't know Star Wars was part of No Man's Sky. Oh, this is 50% off right now. Okay, so it's a week-long deal. They're actually charging $59.99 for this puppy. Okay, so beyond virtual reality, actually, let's go ahead and read this. Wow, this is crazy that this whole thing is happening today. Okay, No Man's Sky Beyond, virtual reality. Hello, everyone. We're very excited to be able to tell you more about No Man's Sky Beyond. A major free update. Just buy the game for $59.99 and you get everything for free. A major free update coming in summer 2019 and the next big chapter in our journey. Dude, check this out. eBay, PlayStation 4 versions of No Man's Sky on eBay. If you're a PlayStation VR guy, you better get it quick, man, because those prices are going boom. Because I'm telling you, let's check this out. Let's go to eBay. Hold on a second. I'm going to go to eBay, guys. Let's see what the price is on eBay, because this is going to be funny. I bet you can get like No Man's Sky for like $18 on eBay. Watch. Let's see. We're going to check eBay, PS4. Because isn't there a physical edition? Is there a physical disc for No Man's Sky? Okay. Look at this. See, I told you, bro. Look at this. $11.50. But there's 4 days left, so it's going to get a lot more depending on how many VR people buy it. But what I really need to look at is completed listings. We need to look at completed items or sold items. We'll look at sold items. And so here we go. No Man's Sky. Look at this. $21 free shipping. $19 free shipping. $15 $3 shipping. So you could, like, this is recently, this is March 21st, March 22nd. So you can grab No Man's Sky for $22, get the physical version. But, you know, you can get the digital version right now on sale. So I guess, I mean, I would definitely rather play this on an Oculus Rift or an HTC Vive. Your PC is way more powerful. You think the game, I mean, that's the other question about the PSVR version of the game. Let's go back over here to our standard scene. Do we really think the PSVR version of the game is going to have these graphics, and what is the frame rate? Like, are they actually going to get it to 60 frames and then Sony, you know, automatically doubles it to 120? But I don't know how it's going to, I'm kind of amazed that they're able to get this game working in VR in a good way. Okay, let's see what some folks in chat are talking about as far as this goes. Here we go. Let's take a look at chat. Okay, Mikkel DeFriends says, but the question is, will No Man's Sky and No Man's Sky VR be the same game? No, it's the same game. They've said that every single thing that is in the regular, it's a complete update. It's just the entire game works in VR. So that is actually the really cool thing about this game is it's like Fallout 4 VR. They're just bringing the entire game to VR. This is not like an LA Noire type situation. Okay, Kev Gretz says, anything possible in No Man's Sky next or any other update is ready and waiting as an immersive and enriched VR experience. Paradise Decay says the game is a totally different game. You think it's going to be a totally different game, or have you played it already, Paradise? You are in the UK. Maybe you're in there. Maybe you know. Maybe your cousin works there. I don't know. Could happen. Okay. So CD keys is 26 to grab No Man's Sky, or just buy it from GameStop.com for $9.99. Holy smokes, that's crazy. Yeah, let's go to GameStop.com. Is this true? Can we grab it at GameStop for $10? Let's save a lot of PlayStation VR owners a lot of money. GameStop, No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky, GameStop. Yeah, look at that. You could buy it brand new. You could buy it brand new for $9.97. So if you have a PlayStation VR, No Man's Sky, $10. We hooked you guys up. But let's face it. Those of us with an Oculus Rift, those of us with HTC Vives, those of us with HP Reverbs, those of us with Rift S's and Pimax 5K Pluses, we want to play this on the PC because it's got to look better. You just got to imagine it would look better. But you know what? Today is PlayStation VR Day. And let's go back a little bit to PlayStation VR Day because there's a lot of good stuff that's going on in PlayStation VR land. And you know what Sony did is they made a nice little clip that shows a lot of their upcoming games that are coming in like the next 60 days. These games are coming in April and May and early June. These are like the next bangers for PlayStation VR. Let's go ahead and take a look at this clip. I'm going to turn up the volume here on No Man's Sky, and we're going to take a look at this upcoming PlayStation VR sizzle clip. So let's get that ready. I like the music.
This is definitely the right place.
Bring your friends. Bring your friends.
You're a great human resource.
Okay, yeah, so that's a little clip right there of some upcoming games, and they've got a lot going on just in the immediate future. For example, coming on April 9th, we've got Falcon Age. So Falcon Age is coming on April 9th. On April 16th, one of the games that we're seeing in this clip is called Table of Tales. It appears to be like a real-time strategy game or maybe some type of almost like a board game type of thing going on. And then Ghost Giant, we got to remember Ghost Giant is April 16th. Jupiter and Mars is April 22nd. So all of those games are coming in the month of April, which is pretty cool. And then when you get to May, you got Everybody's Golf VR. I'm kind of surprised they're not going with Hot Shots Golf VR here in the USA. Because in the US, we've always called it Hot Shots Golf. Has it ever been for sale at like GameStop and stuff here in the USA, not under the name Hot Shots Golf? I think we've always called it Hot Shots Golf in the USA, but like in Japan, it's been Everybody's Golf VR. I'm not sure about the UK and everything, but apparently they're staying with Everybody's Golf VR worldwide now, and that's coming on May 21st. Then you got Blood and Truth on May 28th. You got Trover Saves the Universe on May 31st. I'm actually kind of surprised in regards to Trover. I thought we were gonna get Trover like the end of this month. Like I thought Trover would be like March 31st. I thought Trover was almost ready to come out, but that's May 31st. Vacation Simulator is April 9th for everybody but PlayStation VR. It's delayed on PlayStation VR until was that June 16th or June 18th? And then Mini Mech Mayhem, that is June 18th. So of all these games, like, I'm not super hyped on like Table of Tales, and I'm not that hyped on Mini Mech Mayhem. But the other ones, I think they all look good. Like, I'm looking forward to Jupiter and Mars. I'm looking forward, underwater with dolphins in VR. I'm looking forward to Falcon Age. I'm not like super hyped on Falcon Age. And let's see, which other ones do they have? Trover. I mean, Trover, hopefully the price of Trover is good. I wouldn't mind an action platformer, third-person style in VR. And Everybody's Golf. We've been needing a really good VR golf game, and I'm hoping that will be it. It's clap hands. Those guys, I had a PlayStation Vita, and one of my favorite golf games of all time was Hot Shots Golf on the PlayStation Vita. The Hot Shots Golf on Vita was so freaking incredible. And the Hot Shots Golf games have always been great on pretty much every platform they've ever been on, all the various Sony platforms. And it is actually clap hands. So that is the real developer. So you'd expect that game to be super solid. So PlayStation VR, and then, Blood and Truth is the biggie, and that's May 28th. They didn't even have it in this trailer. And so PlayStation VR has an awful lot that is going on. That is to be sure. Okay, so why don't we do this, though? In the news, let's go ahead and switch back to our Webby browser. And yeah, that's the deal right there. If you do not have a PC VR headset, just buy yourself a brand new copy of No Man's Sky for $10. Why not? I mean, I know it's a physical disc, but hey, in celebration of Google Stadia, the death of physical media is upon us, ladies and gentlemen. We are seeing a transition. There is not going to be physical media for a very long time, and this is physical media. It still exists, at least here in the USA. You could go down to your local GameStop and get yourself a brand new copy of No Man's Sky, and as soon as that VR update hits, the Beyond update, you're ready to go. There's no problem there. So that is good. Okay, so let's go ahead and bounce over here to Road to VR and check this out. This is news as far as I'm concerned. Sony has sold 4.2 million PlayStation VR headsets, and this is as of March 3rd, 2019. And Sony is the only wired VR headset manufacturer to release actual sales figures. Okay, so the last time they cleared 3 million headsets as of August 2018. And of course, Astrobot and Beat Saber. Oh, check this out. Five Nights at Freddy's. Did I grab the trailer for that? Because there's a trailer for Five Nights at Freddy's as well. Yeah, why don't we? I do have that trailer, so let's go ahead and check that out. Oh, and Iron Man too. We haven't checked out Iron Man either. So let's handle this PlayStation VR stuff, and then we'll get into the Palmer Luckey thing. So yeah, why don't we go ahead and check out? Let's check out Five Nights at Freddy's trailer. Let's check that one out. But hold on, let me pump up the volume here on Trover. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. Five Nights at Freddy's. Yeah, so, Five Nights at Freddy's, I got to admit, this is kind of a blind spot for me. I am well aware of the franchise. I've heard all about it, mostly on all the various podcasts that I would listen to. They'd be talking about Five Nights at Freddy's. But the way I've always understood it is that it's almost like it was a game that was designed very specifically for like YouTube reactions and for people like freaking out like, oh my God, you know, and like for basically for people's reactions for YouTube. That's kind of what I always have thought about Five Nights at Freddy's, at least kind of like that's how it was originally created. And then it got like crazy popular. And then they made like 5 or 6, 7 different versions of the game. And other than that, I mean, it's just what I've heard different places, but I don't have like any firsthand experience with Five Nights at Freddy's. And in VR, you know, all about jump scares and stuff. You know, once you get over a jump scare in VR, it's not a big deal, but it's kind of, it's more annoying to me. Like jump scares in VR, I'm not like super afraid of them, but it's more of just like kind of annoying, and like I'm not really looking for that kind of horror. I'm looking more for a horror where it's just the suspense and kind of environmental and stuff like that. But you know, a lot of people really like this. It's very popular with the kiddies, so that's cool. Five Nights at Freddy's VR coming to PlayStation VR. Okay, so the other trailer is Iron Man VR. Yeah, Iron Man VR. Okay, let's check out this Iron Man VR and see what this one's all about. Let's check this puppy out.
Morning, sir. Our travel time to Shanghai is 11 hours, 15 minutes.
Told you we should have taken the faster flight.
I think the board prefers you wear a more conventional suit to these company meetings.
You can't outrun your past.
Friday, tell me I didn't just imagine that.
Negative, sir. Sir, incoming!
A little late, don't you think? Friday, suit up, now!
All systems online.
Time for the hero thing.
Sir, hostiles inbound, 10 o'clock.
So much for a hero's welcome.
On your right.
Any idea who we're up against?
You've made your share of enemies, sir. I'll need more time. Above you.
That's how it's done.
Threat neutralized.
Good. I have a plane to catch.
Yeah, so the Iron Man trailer, I gotta say, I'm not really feeling this Iron Man at all. So first of all, most of the trailer says not actual gameplay. Like through most of the trailer, not actual gameplay right there. I hope that's like in-game cinema though, that you actually get to see, and you know, you get to see this. Maybe you're not actually like grabbing the suitcase and stuff, right? But this is not actual gameplay right here. And then so you're waiting, like, when are we going to actually get some gameplay? And it's pretty much a very small segment, like not actual gameplay here either. And then we eventually get to kind of not actual gameplay there, of course. Let's see, Camouflage is the developer on this. And where's the gameplay, y'all? So you are using Move controllers. So you're going to be using 2 Move controllers probably. And there it is. So that's the actual gameplay for a couple seconds there, okay? And the idea of just looking at a bunch of clouds and stuff, I hope there's a lot more going on, because I don't want to just be shooting things in clouds and sky. That's about as boring. That, like, everything I'm seeing in here looks incredibly boring. I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. I hate to say it. I just got to call it like I see it. Like, I didn't see anything exciting about that at all. Hopefully I'm way wrong, because you can make a badass Iron Man game. We've seen with Richie's Plank experience, like they've already got like the skeleton of an Iron Man game off of that, and I wasn't really liking what I saw there, but hopefully there's way more to that than what we just saw. I got to imagine there. Hopefully there's, like, you can actually get on the ground and there's buildings and you can fly up and you see the buildings rising. Because if you're just in the sky and stuff and you never see, like, buildings on the ground, that would be kind of lame. But yeah, Iron Man VR, have not read. Actually, I haven't read much about any of these games because I've been at work, just got off work, had to smog my car and all that stuff. So I've just kind of seen the trailers and I've seen the headlines. So apologies, I don't have details on a lot of these games yet. But that is Iron Man VR. At least, you know, even if the game is a complete and utter dud, I mean, we hope that that's not the case. But even if it is, at least it's a big name property. We need things like this. And actually, just speaking of PlayStation VR in general, we're about to get into the Palmer Luckey discussion, but speaking of PlayStation VR in general, having hit 4 million sales, and then No Man's Sky, I really feel like No Man's Sky is the kind of game that is going to get a lot of fence sitters. You know, they heard about Astrobot. They may have heard that Astrobot is really cool. And then this summer, they're getting both. They're getting freaking Blood and Truth and No Man's Sky. And I think that is like a fence sitter, you know. That's going to grab a lot of fence sitters that already have PlayStation 4. They've been thinking about PSVR, but they just want that one extra game that pushes them over the edge. And I think the combination of Blood and Truth and No Man's Sky within like 60 days of each other is going to be that 1-2 combination, plus everything else that's coming out on it as well. But like people that didn't buy it for Astrobot last Christmas, I think they're crazy. But now No Man's Sky, I think that really helps it quite a bit. Okay, so why don't we go ahead and get into the Palmer Luckey stuff, because I think this is pretty cool. So let's go ahead and bounce over to our webby browser. And first and foremost, I gotta say, I love this guy's blog. I love the way he has like these pictures and stuff, like the different pictures that his blog goes to. Like he had that one picture where it was just like the bottom of his like face. And then he had some other, I forget all the different pictures that he's had on his blog. But this one, it's like, Make America Great Again. Palmer Luckey working for the U.S. military. There's our boy Palmer. Yeah, buddy. Okay, but anyway, Palmer Luckey is in the news. He is in the news straight up. Like if you just do a Google search right now for Palmer Luckey, this is like actually hitting major news sites that he has come out with this article. And the article is titled, I Can't Use Rift S. And neither can you, bro. Neither can you, bro. And you know what? It's crazy because this article actually speaks to me very specifically. Because who could have possibly known that me and Palmer Luckey would have so much in common? We're both multimillionaires. Now, I wish. No, but we both have IPDs that are like 70 millimeters. Dude has a 70 millimeter IPD. I got a 70 millimeter IPD. He also is mentioning that like one of his eyeballs is like slightly skewed, you know, not perfectly, right? And that could be a possible situation for me as well. I don't know. And so what he's talking about here is that this was kind of shuffled under the blanket, so to speak. When the Rift S came out, they're kind of sweeping this under the covers. And Palmer Luckey saying this is a much bigger deal than everybody really thinks it is. And so he's talking about the average IPD here. This is your typical IPD. This is interpupillary distance, 3,000, basically almost 4,000 subjects. And you could see 65, 64, 63, 62, 61. These are the most common ranges. 64, that's where most of the population lies. And then it starts to skew a little bit this way, starts to go down that way. And that's the widespread population in terms of IPD. So he was talking about that with CV1, with the very first Oculus Rift, that their goal was to be compatible with male and female users from the 5th to 95th percentile, basically 58 millimeters to 72 millimeters. So they pretty much covered the gamut, and everybody was pretty well covered. I was covered even at 71 and 72. So they barely had my coverage right there. And so when I'm in my Oculus Rift, I can set it to that max and I don't have too many problems there. And that's one of the things, like I tried the Rift S and I came away, ET heads, this is King Hell. Hey, there's some ETs out there, and there's also some little gnomes out there that have very tiny IPDs. So there's all kinds of heads all over the place. And you know where you'll see all kinds of weird shaped heads of every variety? San Francisco, California. Let me tell you, when I was there at GDC, the differences in humanity of everybody walking around on the street, you will see about every type of person you could possibly imagine. And I was having a cup of coffee, getting ready to go to GDC, and I was watching all these people that were walking by, just so many different styles of humanity, body shapes, body sizes, tall, skinny, fat, short, every possible combination you could imagine. And I actually started thinking about like VR and AR and how difficult it is, because these are headsets that we're putting on heads, and we don't have, like humans' heads, they vary dramatically. You cannot believe how much our heads vary. It is a crazy situation. But anyway, let's take a look at this. So this little picture right here, don't believe his lies. Okay, is that from like Memento or something? I forget what movie this is from, right? But don't believe his lies. And then we have some comments, and it says, single element, Fresnel can have wide enough eye box. Yay! Digital IPD adjustment solves these problems. Yay! We found out that we can get most of the way there in software. Big sweet spot. Yay! Don't believe his lies. That's what Palmer Luckey is saying right here with this little picture. Okay, so now one of the things that Palmer Luckey talks about here is he talks about the 4 different ways you can deal with this IPD problem. Okay, and so there's mechanical IPD adjustment, an oldie but a goodie. This is a way that most VR headsets have tackled IPD tolerance over the decades, driven largely by microdisplay-based architectures with narrow eye boxes that require perfect positioning to work at all. And so mechanical IPD adjustment, this was the approach used in Rift CV1, and it works very well. We like that, right? Okay, now custom sizing. This is something I've talked about too. So I share more commonalities with my boy Palmer Luckey. Remember, I was saying if Rift S doesn't have an actual IPD adjustment, I tweeted this out. They need to have small, medium, large, and Mark Cuban sizes. Come on, man. Small, medium, large, and Mark Cuban. Now, I know you guys think I'm instantly ordering the Mark Cuban. No, I think I could get by with large. I don't think I would need the Mark Cuban size. But I've always said that would be awesome. So he says, this is my personal favorite, and it'll dominate the VR industry in the long run. Every adjustment on an HMD adds weight, bulks, complexity, cost, and fragility. If the headset is fitted to match the end user from the start, you can minimize and sometimes eliminate the need for adjustments. This is a common principle behind almost all wearable goods, from shoes to clothes to watches to sunglasses. It's funny how Palmer breaks his stuff down. It kind of gets you into like his mind and the way he thinks about things. And it's just an interesting thing. He talks about, I'm not a huge fan of Magic Leap. Yeah, we know that. Tragic Heap was basically the title of one of his blog posts, right? But one thing they did right was achieving IPD tolerance by making 2 different versions, one for wide IPD and one for narrow IPD. And Focals by North is taking a similar approach with their smart glasses, but they have dozens of different sizing options. Yeah, I mean, this would have been awesome. Think how awesome it would be, seriously, if there was a small, medium, and large. Because medium would basically almost just be what we have anyway, right? And then small would be tailored for like people with like 55 IPDs and stuff. And then large would be us big old cantaloupes, us big dome heads would get the large version. You know, small, medium, and large. And what they could do, Like, I wouldn't even blame them. I wouldn't even blame them if they cost, like they added a $50 fee to the large and the small and just have Rift S, have Rift S, have Rift S large, Rift S small, and charge an extra $50. I'm cool with that. Are you cool with that? If you have like a 55 IPD or a 73 IPD, I think that might be a good way to go, right? Okay, so another thing he talks about is perfect collimation. Nothing is perfect, but it is possible to design optical systems with a very wide sweet spot, eye box, and little need for physical adjustment, but not without trade-offs. PlayStation VR is a good modern example, using solid, heavy lenses with a fairly long focal length to create a wide enough eye box for most users. This comes with a penalty to weight, cost, size, and panel utilization, thus resolution. But he says it's hard to argue with the results, especially for a headset that regularly goes on sale for $199. And that's true. PlayStation VR does go to $199 quite often. I mean, there's a lot of sales where if you're just willing to get it by itself, you know, without all the extra stuff, without the camera, without the moves, you can get PlayStation VR in sale for $199. Okay, and then he says there's option number 4. There's option number 4, and this is where he starts to kind of talk smack a little bit. Everything is fine option, okay? He says one of the most common approaches to IPD tolerance over the decades, and one of the many reasons VR has always failed. You can't solve engineering decisions with marketing, but that won't stop PR professionals from trying. Doing nothing and claiming everything is fine does nothing to keep customers from churning out and failing to engage as a result of blurry images, headaches, and eye strain. And you know what? When I read this, so I was actually at work and I was on break and I was looking at my phone and I was reading this blog post, and when I read this part about blurry images, headaches, and eye strain, I started thinking, you know what? I've always kind of wondered why I've only been able to play VR for about 30 minutes or 45 minutes without dealing with like just wanting to get the hell out of there. And then also when I come out of there, sometimes it's like, you're like, ugh, you know, you like come out of there and you're like, man, you know, you're kind of like worn out and stuff. And I think maybe part of my problem is I've never had a proper, like none of these headsets probably have like an ideal IPD for somebody like me being on that big side. And so maybe I've never even experienced what like a truly comfortable headset could ever be, you know, and you go back to, but this everything is fine thing, man. He's basically saying that there's a lot of companies out there that are basically just going with everything's fine. Don't worry about it. It's all good. You know, that's basically what they said with Oculus Go, right? Okay, so then he asked this question to himself, which is awesome. I love this. He says, why are you so bitter about Rift S in particular? What about the other bad HMDs? He says, thanks for asking, Palmer. Yes, there are lots of other headsets that don't tolerate a wide range of different IPDs. Many early Windows MR headsets in particular were prominent members of the Everything is Fine Club. Everything is fine. There's nothing to see here. Move along, move along. There are a lot of headsets in the Steam VR ecosystem that totally blow as well. I have been quiet about this for 2 reasons. First, I don't really use those platforms. Yes, I own almost every HMD ever made. Dude owns almost every HMD ever made. And I keep up with developments in the VR marketplace, but I am completely tied to the Oculus platform. His blood bleeds blue, baby. I buy my games from the Oculus store, I launch my games through the Oculus UI, and I develop VR applications for the military using the Oculus SDK. So he's all Oculus all the time. But basically, and he's saying, secondly and more importantly, Rift S is the only way to use the Oculus PC ecosystem. And one of the things that he gets into here, and so let's go ahead and back off of this. I'm going to go back over here to my standard scene here. And let's go ahead and why don't we throw on our favorite trailer since we're talking about everybody's favorite whipping boy. Let's throw on the Rift S trailer and let's start ripping into it. But basically what he's talking about here, actually, wait a minute. Okay, hold on, go back. What was he talking about here? Oh yeah, okay, now I know what I wanted to say here. Okay, so here's the thing, right? The problem is they're gonna stop making original Oculus Rifts. And so long term, what is gonna happen to people that have an IPD of 55 or an IPD of 73? They are totally boned. They're totally boned in this situation. If you have an IPD of 73 or an IPD of 55 and you have a huge investment in an Oculus Rift library, what you want to do is you want to hold on to your existing Oculus Rift, and as all these other Oculus Rifts start flooding eBay, you might want to grab one more of those puppies, all right? Because unless they come out with a new headset that offers an actual legitimate IPD adjustment, because otherwise you're going to kind of be boned. Like maybe the Rift S isn't for me. Maybe the Rift S isn't for somebody at 55, 56, 57. These are some of the things we got to consider, and if it's completely phased out, and if this is the only headset that is available, and you have a huge library of games in that platform, I can tell you this, my Rift ain't going nowhere. After reading this blog post, my Rift ain't going nowhere because I can't trust. Like, I kind of want to try a Rift S. I kind of want to buy a Rift S and own a Rift S. And actually, if I could buy one from Best Buy, and I could try it out for a couple of weeks and put it on the maximum FOV, go to the maximum range of their little software IPD, because the comfort is going to be so good. The comfort on the Rift S is awesome. I wore that thing twice at GDC, and the comfort was incredible. And I would love to have that comfort. And so I kind of want the Rift S. And I also like the new controllers. And I like Pass-Through. Pass-Through is super cool, man. You guys just don't know how cool Pass-Through is. I mean, I know it's just a camera, but it's like they do it right. It's got the actual stereoscopy done right. So it's like it works perfectly. And you can see all your surroundings. And it's like, whoa, this is straight AR mode. So I want a Rift S. But like after reading Palmer's article, I cannot sell my Rift. I got to hold on to my Rift, and I got to hope my Rift doesn't have any problems and ever breaks, because eventually they're going to run out of parts. What he's kind of arguing is like people on the extremes are being freaking totally screwed here. And I don't know that I completely agree with him. I think he's kind of going a little bit overboard with some of his complaints here. I mean, he's kind of, and I love that. I just love that image right there. I love all the images that he's used on his blog. So great. I love that. It's really cool. And check this out, folks. Let's do a Google search, because I'm going to show you, like, this is actually like straight up making real news stories, like this thing here. Okay, let's go. Palmer Luckey. Okay, so if we go to Palmer, see, look at TechSpot has a story, Upload VR, PC Mag. Like, this is actually hitting places. This is hitting places as an actual news story. That's kind of crazy that this is happening. I think I even saw it on a website that wasn't even like really hardcore tech site, or some of these more mainstream. So Palmer Luckey on Rift S. Headset won't fit me. 30% of users. Everyone who fits Cinderella's shoe will get a perfect experience. Anyone close will deal with minor eye strain problems that impact their perception of VR at a mostly subconscious level. Everyone else is screwed, including me. Man, the quotes that are coming out of this is just so great. This is just awesome. I love these Palmer Luckey stories. Okay, so yeah, well, let me go ahead and check chat. Let's see what some chat people are talking about here. Rudel Zavedno says, I don't understand why not to use 2 panels and a manual IPD, because of cost, right? They're trying to trim costs. They didn't pass any of the cost savings to us. But they did add a complicated camera tracking system with 5 cameras, and they are improving the experience for new users, and they're improving for the 70% of people that fall in the primary range. It's all good. You know, for Gary is loving it. He's right there at 64, 65. He's got the perfect IPD. You people that have like a 65, 66, 64 IPD, oh man, you guys are lucky for this whole VR age. You guys are really lucky for like the first 10 years of VR. Your experience is going to be better than everybody else. Stuff is going to look more 3D. You're going to have less eye strain. Man, it must be a dream come true to be at that perfect IPD. So Greg's VR says, as Chris said in VR Roundtable, no one cares about IPD with PSVR. Well, see, here's the thing I'm telling you, though, Greg's VR, because I play any of these headsets too long and my eyes start tweaking out, but I've just dealt with it. I didn't know that, like, it was probably because the IPD is all wrong for me. That's probably what it is. If I had a headset that was custom fitted, that had the perfect distance and everything, I probably would have no eye strain. I'd be able to play Fallout 4 VR for like 2 or 3 hours straight. But, you know, that ain't my situation. So I don't know. It's kind of crazy. Chris Richardson says that foam is gonna get sweaty. How cheap will replacements be, and how do you clean? Well, yeah, the foam, let me tell you, the foam is soft and comfortable as a nice pillow. It feels so good. That's why I really kind of hope I can squeeze my eyeballs into that damn Rift S. But basically, the comfort is there, man, but it is foam, and it's one of the things I said to Sebastian right after having a demo of that thing. I said Beat Saber players are going to have a problem with this because they're going to soak the living crap out of it. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to get yourself a ski mask, okay? You're going to have to get yourself a ski mask and cut out that area a little bit, and then, you know, wear a ski mask, and so you kind of, and then wear a headband. I don't know. But basically, the real thing that a lot of these manufacturers should do is they should design the headsets in such a way where it's so easy to take the foams on and off, and you just plan for people swapping foams. So, or VR cover, maybe VR cover, but they need to, but there's 3 different foams that need to be swapped. The forehead foam, the back part foam, and the face gasket, not just the face gasket. You need to be able to swap all 3 of them because they're all going to get soaked. That's how that foam is. It is a concern. Pinnacle Rising says, I bet 30% is overstated. Now, Pinnacle Rising, to be fair, you do seem to be a little bit on the Oculus side of things. Not too critical on the Oculus. Okay, Mark P says, I fall into that 30%. Yeah, I guess I fall into it too. Now, I've said 71, 72, but I've been using these things. I just set them to like 70 or whatever, but I've always kind of wondered why I get so, it starts to wear on me after a while. And Greg's VR says, VR cover is going to get paid from all this stuff. Okay, Paradise Decay says, don't worry, on April 1st, Mike from Virtual Reality Oasis will have a do-it-yourself IPD kit for it. What do you mean? Like a kit that will change it? It might involve a chainsaw. Oh, okay. Yeah, that would be crazy. It would be nice if there was some company out there that could do custom modifications of headsets to dial it in absolutely perfect. Yeah, Main Fan says, no eye strain here, remember? So Main Fan, are you like 64, 65? Maybe that's why you have no damn eye strain. Lucky dog. You lucky dogs, I'm telling you, those of you out there with 64, 65, you're living a dream. Okay, NV1790 says, Zuck needs to stop this nonsense and get him back as a consultant at least. Carmack is not going to last forever. You know what would be super duper awesome? It'd be super duper awesome if Palmer Luckey and Brendan Arieb eventually resurfaced with another VR manufacturer. in some kind of partnership thing, or like they created a brand new VR company of some kind. Like, I really wish they were involved in VR, because Palmer knows his shit, man. I mean, he is really into this stuff. He really knows his stuff. And, you know, I mean, we can talk about off the field things and all of those kinds of things, but I don't really want to get into that. But Palmer knows his shit. Steve Bishop says No Man's Sky might be the biggest game since Fallout 4 VR announcement. Yeah, in terms of maybe not for us so much, but for flat gamers out there, this is one of those games where this might push them over the edge. So No Man's Sky is absolutely a huge game. I mean, it's got to be, what's the most wanted VR game overall right now? Is it No Man's Sky? Is it Stormland? You know, that's a good question. And, you know, Boneworks is still in the mix. Population 1 is still in the mix. But could we conceivably say that No Man's Sky might be one of the 4 or 5 most wanted games, period, right now for VR games? I would say yes. Maybe top 3. It might be a top 3. But anyways, why don't we do this? Let's go to Upload VR. I want to see if there's any other news that's breaking that maybe I missed out on, and we can go ahead and refresh this real quick. And so Sony has sold 4.2 million PSVR headsets. That is a good number. It's going to be really good when it hits 5. Minimech Mayhem, not super excited for this, to be completely honest with you. But I'm not much of a multiplayer guy anyways, so I don't know. We'll see. These are the guys that made... are these the guys that made Tiny Tracks, or am I mixing them up with the other developer? But these guys, if these are the guys that made Tiny Tracks, these guys make some of the most colorful games you'll ever see ever. Okay, Jupiter and Mars brings trippy Echo the Dolphin vibes to PSVR this April. Absolutely. Even though the developer, what's his name, Milky, he will literally go out of his way to avoid mentioning Echo the Dolphin when talking about this game for some reason, because he's like, no, actually Echo the Dolphin was not an inspiration for Jupiter and Mars in any way, shape, or form. But that's what I instantly think of. I mean, when it comes to video games and dolphins, you immediately think of Echo the Dolphin. One thing I'll say, though, about VR games and underwater looks good in VR. Just remember the Nintendo Labo demo that we recently saw, the Nintendo Labo trailer, where it shows you taking pictures of fish underwater. How beautiful did that look? And how beautiful is Subnautica? Underwater stuff just looks good in VR. The No Man's Sky trailer had an underwater little clip in there for a couple of seconds, and that was probably the best looking part of the entire trailer. Underwater looks good. That's why I'm hyped for Jupiter and Mars on April 22nd. I mean, I'm not hyped like it's going to be game of the month, but I'm still kind of excited for Jupiter and Mars. Vacation Simulator members coming. There's a lot of games coming in April. April is strong. April is a very strong month. Everybody's Golf coming this May. Still a little bit surprised about the name. Maybe the name could change possibly, or maybe it's just going to stay with Everybody's Golf. PS4 exclusive Concrete Genie getting a PSVR mode. Okay, I don't know anything about that, so that's something I'm going to have to check out later. Trover Saves the Universe coming in May. Falcon Age is coming in April. And Five Nights at Freddy's isn't too far away, so it is coming in April. I'm not too hyped on that. Hopefully it's rather cheap and inexpensive. Vacation Simulator, unfortunately, does have a bit of delay there. Iron Man VR, I wonder what they're saying about this. I just want to click on this story real quick, because I did not like this trailer. I gotta hope that it's better than what this trailer showed. The game, which is literally called Iron Man VR, was announced during Sony's State of Play broadcast today. The game is coming to PSVR this year. It's in development by Sony's own worldwide studios and Camouflage. That's the studio that made Republic, yeah. I don't know, bro. I knew I recognized that name, Camouflage. Yeah, they are the developer of Republic, and that is on Oculus Go. And it was kind of like a tablet game back in the days. It was a guy that used to work for Kojima, I believe. He was like a producer for Kojima for a long time, and then started his own company called Camouflage. So they're doing Iron Man, but I don't know. They're going to have to convince me with some other gameplay videos because I didn't... Like, if you just show me some clouds and some things to shoot in the background, that is not going to entertain me. I need to see other scenery. And, of course, Blood and Truth, May 28th. So all of this was in the state of play, yada, 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 yada. Okay, let's just go over to Road to VR real quick just to see if there were any other stories that were popping off over here. Trover coming in May, No Man's Sky. Yeah, we know all about that. So, doesn't look like Valve affirms continued work on VR games. Okay, wait, is there actual news here? Let me look at this. It was just a few weeks ago that Valve confirmed that it laid off 13 employees. Okay, Valve News Network, a YouTube channel, collected a handful of email responses. Okay, is this like a story that isn't a story? I'm not seeing much of a story here. Valve, let's see. One of the questions you might be asking, why in the world would you be making hardware? What we can do now is we can be designing hardware at the same time that we're designing software, Newell said, according to Eurogamer. This is something that Miyamoto... So this is not a new story. There's no new information in that. I don't know what that story is about. But let's go ahead and check the subreddits. Let's check the Oculus subreddit. I know they were kind of going crazy over the Palmer Luckey story for a while there. Let's see what else is going on over here. Yeah, it's crazy news, man. I was at work all day. Then I got off work, I had to smog my car real quick. I got lucky because there was nobody at the smog place because I thought I was going to have to start this show at like 7:30. I'd have to do it like after dinner and stuff. Yeah, No Man's Sky. It's coming to Steam VR. No Man's Sky getting full VR support. That is awesome. I can't use Rift S, and neither can you. Well, neither can 30% of us, and maybe more like 25% of us. And here's a story. If you're unsure about your IPD and Rift S, just make sure you buy with a good return policy. But you know what? I will say this, folks. This is a bad look for Oculus. Like, this is not the story that they want to have populating around the internet. Like, I don't know if like Engadget is actually like let's hold on a second here. Let me go to like Engadget and The Verge. I'm just wondering if they're covering, if like those kind of websites are covering this Palmer Luckey thing. Because it's a bad look if that story kind of goes a little more mainstream. But yeah, I don't know if places like Engadget or The Verge are covering this. I'm not. Iron Man VR, they're covering that. Concrete Games, No Man's Sky, Yeah, Palmer Luckey's kind of a little bit of a celebrity in the tech world. Well, the tech VR world. But yeah, I don't know that they've got a story on him there. Let's try The Verge. But it is a bad look for a story like that to come out, and it just kind of spins the whole Rift S in a bit of a negative fashion. But for the vast majority of you guys, it's all good. It's all good. And I still want to try one, but I definitely am going to have to get one from Best Buy. Like, I have to get one where I could possibly return it. Yeah, it doesn't look like The Verge has a story on Palmer Luckey that I'm seeing right away. So anyways, we'll go ahead and go back to the Oculus subreddit here. Okay. No Man's Sky trailer. It's pretty much all No Man's Sky all the time. Best Buy product details. Oh, do we have like a new Best Buy page that is up? Here's to hoping for a March 28th S release date. Also, there is a placeholder. It's fun. Hey, this March 28th thing has turned into a thing. I was listening to an F Reality podcast, and Mike was talking about March 28th as well. I'm not saying that he got it from me. I'm just saying that I am Nostradamus Jr. That's all I'm saying. Let's see. How did your low-high IPD distance work out on the Oculus Go? Yeah, so that's interesting because I've owned an Oculus Go all this time. And one of the things that I've thought about in retrospect with my Oculus Go is that I always did feel like it was kind of like not meant for me, and that things weren't like really, really 3D. But I can't say that the Go is a complete disaster for me. So maybe my IPD is like closer to like 69 or something. I got it measured at this one place, and they said it was 71-72, but maybe it wasn't measured correctly. I don't know. Who knows? Like, how do you really know? Rift S fixed IPD. Could they not have used one screen with 2 moving lenses over it? I don't think it works like that. Oh, Oculus Daily Deal. Scraper. Scraper is the Oculus Daily Deal, guys. Let me go back here. Scraper. Wow. So you can grab Scraper for $17. I mean, it's not an incredible discount there. $17, 15% off. And, you know, only 6 hours left. Normally when I do my show, there's like 12, 11 hours left in these daily deals. But now that we're doing later shows. Also, in terms of scheduling, folks, I did want to let you guys know, tomorrow this show will be 4 p.m. Pacific time. Basically the same time it was today, but actually at 4. And then Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 2 p.m. Okay, 2 p.m. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 2 p.m. Tomorrow, 4 p.m. So I've got reduced hours at work so I can get home earlier and I can just bang out a show. Will I always have like prepared stories for all these shows? Not necessarily. So that may be the downer side of it. Okay, let's check the Rift subreddit. Space Junkies is coming out tomorrow. Is everybody hyped for Space Junkies? Are you going to be jumping on Space Junkies right away? I guess it kind of depends whether or not you're a multiplayer person. I'm not much into the multiplayer. Sad news of the day. The Vive Pro costs $3,891 in Brazil. Oh my God. Okay, well anyway, guys, you know what? We've been going well over an hour. I'm going to go ahead and get the hell out of here. I got to check out all the details for all these different stories. Lots of news, lots of PlayStation VR stuff going on. I actually got to get my butt onto VR game rankings. I got to update all the different release dates for all these PlayStation VR games. I got to add No Man's Sky to the rankings. Like, there's a lot of work that I got to do. It's just been an explosion of games, and you know, we've got newly announced games that are hitting as well, and so a lot of crazy stuff is going on. So this was a cool Monday, very PlayStation VR heavy, but we're going to be covering whatever news breaks as it happens during the week, various trailers and all of that. All right, well, I will see everybody tomorrow at about 4 p.m. Pacific time. Remember, if you're not subscribed to our show, why not go ahead and subscribe? It's not going to hurt you very badly. And then also go ahead and tickle the like button, because that is always a beautiful thing. And I am going to go ahead and bounce on out of here. So have a wonderful day. Take it easy, and later.